So, Aaron, my interns have told me that you're going through a breakup.
Aaron, them interns do good research.
Aaron, I heard you're extremely heartbroken right now.
Yes, I am.
What's it like? What's the first thing you do after you get your heart broken?
Just eat yourself into oblivion.
Hustle with my muscle cause I'm living off the dollar. Struggle with my huddle so it's Henny or it's vodka. Life is catching up though so we living how we gotta. Stay low key, you know me the same old way I used to be. I stay low key, you know me. I stay young, my grind to distract my mind. Yes, packing like folders.
Oh, before I even acknowledge my guest today, I wanna set some ground rules because I've made a lot of jokes about people who start podcasts and they say the word podcast 1,000 times on the podcast and they talk about their guest podcast. So if I say podcast any other time in this podcast, can you just throw something at me? From now on, from every episode from now on, I'm gonna wear a shock collar, and if I say the word podcast, just shock me.
Yeah.
You know those ones like if the dog leaves the yard, they get shocked. I'm gonna do one of those. And I've made fun of podcast hosts that shit on their producer and like, hey, pull that up right now. Pull it up. If I ever say something like that to you, or I'm rude saying, hey, can you look that up? Just say, you pull it up yourself, bitch.
I think I could beat the shit out of you. It's fine. Probably will be fine.
It'd be an interesting fight.
Yeah.
Hey, pull up AI, you and me fighting. My guest today is a great friend, a great comic, and a great lay. Aaron McCann, if you don't mind.
How are you guys?
Over from the old country.
Lovely to be here on your debut episode.
Thank you. It might be the guinea pig episode that never comes out.
Huge honor.
There's no pressure, though.
Nah,
But
I
you
don't
have
feel
to,
any.
you have to bring it.
Okay.
You have to, like, if I'm being a rookie, you have to take over and then be like, all right, this is now the Bomb Squad
It's going to be great.
podcast.
It's going to be great.
Aaron McCann of the Bomb Squad podcast over from County Tyrone.
Yes.
How does it feel?
Well, right now?
Yeah.
Terrible. You got me on the worst week you could have got me on.
Okay, here's the thing. Aaron told me on the way up in the elevator, he was like, okay, I'm just going to tune out for an hour. I'm like, please don't tune out for an hour.
But I meant like this is a good distraction. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So we're open about, I thought we were going to suppress our feelings and act like everything's fine.
Yeah, well, that's what I've been doing, and that resulted in me just crying on the train. So I don't know if that's good. Do you know what I mean?
All right, Aaron just became a real New Yorker because he had his first cry on the subway.
It was great. What I like about it was, you cry in the subway, 7 stops, people getting on, people getting off. Nobody came near me. I was like, this is beautiful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. The tear that comes down your eye on the W train, that's the New York baptism.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you become a Christian? No, that's how you become a New Yorker.
I think I've ticked off the full bingo card because I've like cried in the train. I've had a public freak out. I nearly got run over. I've had a bunch of shit happen that I'm like, me a year ago would never have done that.
Yeah.
You know what I
But
mean?
I feel like nearly getting run over isn't as much a New Yorker tag as like when you're the guy walking and you almost run over a car.
Yes.
Like you got to like slap the back of a taxi.
I was about to slap the car, but then I was like, we are in America. This fella could have a gun. Like,
Well, yeah, that's the fun of it.
that's what I mean.
You never
But
know.
It is the ultimate Russian roulette is to start a guy in America and then he pulls out a gun and you're dead.
Well, please don't say Russian roulette. It's Ukrainian roulette.
Yes.
We'll be right back. Do you have were there any like New York stereotypes that before you moved here, you're like, oh, that's just a trope. And then you moved here and you're like, wow, that is true.
I can't remember if I told you this before, but like literally first time in New York, right? And was like stayed over at a friend's house. So they were away at work, so they left the key for me underneath their doormat. Went around, let myself in.
By the way, shout out to the key under the doormat. That's a trope. That's a
Classic.
real thing.
Classic.
Okay, sorry.
And then went into the house. Yeah, seeing the key under the doormat, and I was like, only in New York. You know what I mean? Only in New York. Love it by when people say that about the most basic shit.
I know, it could be anything.
You know what I mean? I got a panini at 3 o'clock in the morning, only in New York.
Only in New
It's like, you
York.
could get that Noma if you know the right guy.
Just got assaulted on the subway. Only in New York. Well, you could say that about any city that I've noticed where like any city in the world, no matter what it is, if you're like, wow, traffic at 3 p.m., there's some real Grand Rapids, Michigan shit.
Yeah.
It's just, and people go crazy for it.
Yeah.
That's a good like tour hack where like whenever you're doing a road gig, you're like, wow, fucking hot dogs on a Tuesday. We are in Stamford, Connecticut.
It's very pro wrestler. It's very like Mick Foley. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he'd come out, he'd call it cheap pop, and he'd be like, "It's great to be here in Sacramento." And every time the crowd go nuts, he's like, "He fucking said it. That's where I'm from."
Have you ever said the wrong city?
No. But I'm not international enough to mix up the cities. Do you know what I mean?
But have you ever been in like fucking Kerry and you said Claire?
I don't think so. Nah. Maybe no. I don't think so.
Sorry to still cut off your New York story, but
No, you're grand.
that's such a thing where like I've heard like huge superstars do that, and I'm like, what idiots? Meanwhile, they're in a different state every night.
Yeah.
And then I fucking did that. I haven't been anywhere.
That's
And
so funny.
I did that. I was opening for Rachel Feinstein. We did Syracuse, then Albany, and I was so sleep deprived. And we just came back from the drive. It was in Syracuse, and the show sucked. Not Rachel was great, but Syracuse sucks.
Uh-huh.
And I was bombing, and I was doing crowd work. And I go, that's some real Albany shit right there. And I was like, wow, this is usually the hack that usually works.
Yeah.
I was like, just reaching for anything. I was like, wearing that flannel on this first date, real Albany shit. And they're
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is he talking about?
It's funny, like the hack, you know, like wee tricks you can do if you're kind of like flailing. Like back home, it's bound to have here too, where like if you reference like the local shithole, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you could be like, oh, you know, friggin', I was gonna do this show in Strabane, but sure, it costs £20 to get in here. And the audience, if they live near Strabane, they're like, this is amazing. This is amazing. But then if you're in Strabane, you do the exact opposite. Crowd goes mad. You're constantly wearing a mask. Do
Yeah,
you know
we're
what I mean?
all pandering. We're all full of shit.
100%.
But I mean, I am going to use that tactic this weekend. We're going to Boston with Grace O'Malley. And I already am like, all right, I got to ask Grace's cousin what the real shithole towns are around this comedy club.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank God we're not in Worcester or whatever. Worcester. Speaking of, you're on a mission to not drink for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to Boston with Grace O'Malley.
First big time to us.
How do you feel?
Well, it's basically just like, you know, I kind of was like, I think I can do this. And then I got to a point of spite where I was like, no, I need to do this. And then it's so funny because I saw a comment on a podcast I did, and someone was like, Aaron's going to have to drink for a year. All right, I give him about 3 weeks. And to the date, that's when we're in Boston with Grace. And I was like, what is this, a fucking fortune teller? How does he know that?
Bro, if you let this man win.
I can't let him win. But it's not even that. It's like, I like to keep my word. And I'm like, there's nothing worse than someone who's like, I'm going to do this. And then they don't do it. And I've been that guy before. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, just give me a year just to focus on stand-up, cut the drink out, you know what I mean? Just kind of dive into it.
That's why I thought it was even ballsy that you were telling people. You've been telling people this for a couple months before the year even started, I feel like.
Public shaming is probably one of the most effective methods to do what you need to do.
Well, I've been, like, I'm trying to do January. I don't
Mhm.
even, can we bleep out dry January?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay, thank you. I don't even want to tell people I'm doing dry January because if I fuck it up, I don't want people to be like, oh, well, look who it is.
But that's why it works.
Yeah,
You
but
know what I mean? Like if you tell people, oh, I'm gonna do this thing, and then you don't do it, more than likely they couldn't give a fuck.
yeah.
But in your head, you'll be like, oh, God, they think I'm a failure.
Yeah, that's true. And this is gonna be the biggest temptation for me too, because I don't know how you felt the first weekend of not drinking. I had like 3 birthday parties, popular, and it was rough. I was like, I just want to drink. I was like, have I ever had fun without drinking?
See, to be fair, the other night I went to a show. A friend of mine was opening for a big comic out here. Went to the show, had a good time. Then the kind of whole crew was like, "Hey, you hanging out?" And I was like, "I haven't hung out sober in so many years." Like, and then we went to this bar, and for the first time in my life, I went to a bar and was like, "Hey, could I get a gin and soda for my mate? And then could I get a non-alcoholic?" I was like, "Do you guys have any non-alcoholics?" And she was like, "We have," and then mentioned 4. And I was like, "Any of them will do. I don't, it's a non-alcoholic. I couldn't give a fuck. I just want something to hold in my hand."
Yeah.
So I stopped thinking about where to put it.
It does work. By the way, did you say, can I have a Jack and Coke for my friend? And she's like, I
Yeah.
don't care who it's for.
Yeah. No, I was like, can I have a gin and soda for my friend? He has issues. Me, however, I'm better than myself. Could I have a non-alcoholic, please?
Meanwhile, she's probably like, this guy's definitely an alcoholic and he's chugging this in the bathroom.
Lad, I tell you what, the non-alcoholics, you can chug them because you've still got that drinker mindset where you're like, oh my God, this is getting warm, whatever. So you just fucking chug it. And then you're like, what was the point in that? Now I have to buy another one.
Yeah.
So I have another liquid in my hand.
Now I just feel bloated for no reason.
Yeah, that's the worst part. People talk about no hangovers, all this here, like you feel fresh in the morning, but like you're just bloated with like
With nothing.
more time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No more fun.
Yeah, you're just bored and bloated.
Yeah,
That's
bored and
all it
bloated.
is.
Bored and bloated. That's Aaron's sitcom
That's
coming
gonna
to
be the name of my
NBC.
next hour.
But also the chugging of it, that's how, so our friend Peter, when he stopped, I was like, come on, you could drink, you don't have a problem. Then one day on the NAs, the Guinness Zeros, he's chugging them. I'm like, all right, you might have a problem.
Yeah.
Why are you chugging those?
Yeah, that's
But-
what I mean. But then here's the thing, though. I was drinking the NAs. Shout out to Athletic, drinking the NAs,
Shout out
whatever.
Athletic. We're actually sponsored by, we don't have any sponsors.
That'd be
yet.
great. Well,
That would suck.
for a year, it'd be good.
For the month.
This is the thing too, is everyone's like, man, are you gone from the booze? Like, or some people are like, you're gonna have a really great year and you won't want to go back to it. And I'm like, I appreciate that, but I already can't wait to get back to it.
Yeah.
Like January 1st, 2026, I'm hitting it hard. Do you know what I mean? And I
gonna
might
be in
not
a-
stop for 3 months.
You're gonna be in a ditch. Everyone's gonna be like, "What happened to Aaron?" Like, he took a year off from drinking.
Tommy Tiernan, beloved Irish comedian,
Yeah.
he went off the drink for 10 years. And he was interviewed about it, and they were like, you went off the booze for 10 years, fair play to you. And he goes, sure, it's time I'll never get back.
But that's another thing. Like, if you take 10 years off and then go back, people are gonna think you're an alcoholic that relapsed. But you might have just been taking time off.
Well, this is where I'm into. I'm like, I've got certain goals, whatever, that alcohol is currently getting in the way of. I'm like, okay, let me set it aside for a year. Because you can make a big difference to
Yeah.
the trajectory of your life in a year. So I'm like, let me take a year off. 2026, I'll get back to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I was drinking the NAs with them boys the other night. And it's so funny because I'm in the rounds. You know what I mean? So everyone's
yeah.
getting rounds, and I'm like, yeah, I'll just take another Athletic or whatever the fuck, And then they come down with the drinks, and I'm drinking mine, and I'm chatting away to everyone. But of course, after 6 rounds, I'm like, oh, everyone's fucked.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like you're cheating. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it does.
Because you're not encountering the same switch in reality as these fellas.
So have you reached the point where, so my second weekend, I would see that and I'd be like, these guys are drunk. And I already feel superior to them where I'm like, last week I was, my hand was shaking. This week I'm like, still drinking that poison?
Yeah. Anyone who's sober and says they don't have a superiority complex is a blatant liar. Because I got it immediately. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
off drink for 2 weeks. And I was just like, look at these fucking drunks. Nothing better to do with their life, not chasing their goals, ambitionless, numbing out the fucking carousel in their head.
You turn to Gary Vee, you're like, do you want to be successful or do you want to drink every night?
But anyone who is sober, because like there's different levels to it. It's like if you're sober because you had an issue, fair play to you for catching it and being self-aware enough. But like if you're sober kind of by choice, then it's like, you kind of that's the ones who definitely get the superiority complex.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
like fucking, I chose this, whatever.
Yeah, and I hated those people.
Yes, me
Until
too.
this month.
You hate what you become.
Damn, that's
Yeah.
deep. You hate what you become.
Yeah.
Or you become what you hate.
You become what you hate. Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
Because I also do always hate what I become.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate what I be coming in too. We'll cut that. My mom watches this. Yeah, so I don't know. First of all, I've been up all night thinking about, Aaron texted me last night and he goes, lad, have you ever seen an Uber Eats driver just walking? And I was like, what? Hello? And then he sent the screenshot and it was the Uber Eats app showed someone walking.
It's literally, and if you look at the icon, usually it's like a bike or a car.
Or car, yeah.
This here it was like a puffer jacket, and so now,
At least you know he's warm.
like I was eating away some feelings last night, right? 2 orders at the one time, one from KX Burger, one from Chip City. Right?
Hell yeah.
Literally,
You're a true American.
lad, I Uber Eats 2 cookies. Right? 2 cookies.
Oh,
and you know
man.
what's so funny? The driver was for the cookies. The walker was for the stuff that will get cold.
2 separate Uber Eats? Can't you
Yes.
pile them on top?
Maybe I don't know how to do that, but it didn't give me the option to.
You got to start diversifying your funds, brother.
spent like $50 on like nachos and cookies and cream cookies.
Cookies
You know
and
what I
cream
mean?
cookies.
Yeah.
That's how that's how it sums up America in one sentence. Cookies and cream cookies.
I love this.
It's a flavor of cookie is a flavor of a cookie.
Yeah, so it's like Chip City is like if Exhibit was behind it. You know what I mean? Like, dog, we heard you like cookie. We heard you like Oreos. So we're putting fucking Oreo cookies into the cookie and it's got Bluetooth on it. So you can play songs.
And the guy's like, I just got to drive to work. My house is in foreclosure. Just wanted an AC in the car.
But dude, the guy was walking and listen, no shade, right? But I was monitoring his walk. He definitely stopped a couple of times to like answer a text or something. Like it was not a speed walk. It was not like it was a dander. It was
Yeah.
a light dander.
He was lollygagging.
He was lollygagging.
So he showed up walking because I've
Yes.
seen it where the app is lying, where I've seen it where it says they're on a bike and then they show up in a Honda Civic with their girlfriend. They're on a date
Yeah.
and they have the dog in the back.
So here's the thing. I got curious, right? I was like, is this poor fucker actually walking, right? And then so when I see that he's 4 minutes away, I went outside to my house and like looked, and sure enough, he's just walking.
Why didn't you meet him halfway?
Listen, I'm not doing his work for him. You know what I mean? It's fucking cold.
But you're standing outside in the cold.
No, well, like I looked out, right, and like he was enough distance to the house where it would have been weird if I started walking. Do you know what I mean? Like the boat had sailed. If I had walked out, immediately started walking, then it would have been okay. But I walked out, went, oh my God, he's actually walking. And then I started thinking, isn't that like a kind of requirement for the job that you have to at least have a bicycle? And then by the time my mind did all those like mental gymnastics, I was like, oh, he's here.
You're like, hey, thank you so much. So sorry about that.
I leave it on the ground. You don't have to do all this. You know?
Do you feel that? Like, I feel so guilty when I order like Uber Eats or DoorDash, where it could be freezing and I have no pants or socks on, and I'm like, oh, let me meet him like by his car, and I'm like, I'm paying like an extra $20 for him to do this. Like, I should just let him come to the door.
Well, the thing is too is like I think I'm picking up bad habits from my flatmates because my flatmates, one of them in particular, every single day on the Uber Eats. Like, lad, we put up. The boys got like what would you call it for like putting up pans? But like it's not a cupboard. It's just like it looks like a coat hanger, but you throw pans on it.
You're asking the wrong guy, brother.
Yeah, see.
Do we-
Stromboli, you cook?
No, yeah.
Do we have any women that work here?
No,
So-
definitely not.
They put that up, and I was like, boys, that is the most because none of them cook. I was like, this is
What?
completely. This is a wind chime you've made here.
Well,
It's never gonna get used.
It's trendy. It's like, I bet in Bushwick they have those.
It looks great. But they order Uber Eats every single day and they wait to the doorbell. I don't wait to the doorbell. I at least get to the door before they feel the need to ring the doorbell. That's what I like to do.
But do you? So you have steps at your home?
We do.
So do you walk down the steps, or does he meet you at the door?
Oh no, I go to the door. I go down the stairs.
Do you have outdoor steps? I know you have indoor steps.
No.
Okay. So I have outdoor steps, so I'm always like, oh, I feel bad. I should be meeting him. I should go outside the gate. And I'll just be rushing and throwing slippers and a condom on, and I'm just running
Yes.
to the gate, where I should just, I'm paying a lot of money for this. He should bring it to the door.
Everyone's etiquette's different. You know, I think I'd walk down the stairs.
Okay.
But I don't know. It depends on the day. I
think-
definitely wouldn't walk down the stairs this past few days.
Yeah. But then that would make me want to walk down the stairs because I'm like, it's so cold, this poor guy.
Yeah.
I think everyone's etiquette is different, but the best thing to do is pick an etiquette. And I don't pick, I just pick one and then feel guilty about it. Or I do this and I'm like, wait, I should be doing this instead.
Yeah.
But the difference is also I used to do DoorDash and I would always be like, these guys aren't even meeting me at the gate.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's the thing.
Bro, I did DoorDash for like 3 months, and I was always expecting I was gonna get discovered doing DoorDash.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of like entitlement I had in my head where I would be like, they're gonna look at me and be like, "What are you doing this job? Get in here."
Yeah.
My name is Lorne Michaels, and the way you delivered that KFC to me, you're on SNL this
Yeah.
week. I
Yeah.
don't know what it was. That's the worst job ever.
Yeah, I had friends did that in LA, and like they actually did get to deliver to like a couple of celebrity houses.
don't kill this for me.
Yeah, they don't like that. That is a lovely idea, but it is just that.
They don't even look you in the eye.
No, they act as if you are essentially a drone that
Yes.
is carrying their shopping in for them.
Well, literally in LA now they have those robots that drive the food.
I do not understand this at all because I went to LA a couple of months ago and I went to visit my friends and I saw one of the robots in action, right? But at this stage, they're very new, whatever. But I was like, this is a homeless person's wet dream.
Yeah.
Like, what? How are you telling me that? Because there's no security or anything on it.
No.
So I'm like, how would you not just, like, if you're a homeless person, just be like, where do they order robots? Let's camp out there, take the robots, take all the shit, profit.
Honestly, we should start doing that in New York. Then the homeless wouldn't attack humans; they would attack the robots. Let's. Chris, can you pull that up, please?
Yeah, I'll pull it up on the
Can you
docket.
pull up homeless people attacking robots?
Yeah.
Okay, and also, I don't know if so I just did Aaron's podcast. I said podcast again, and I was waiting for
Shock.
I was waiting for the Irish audience to shit on me because I don't know if Americans are aware the perception of Irish Americans in Ireland. So like I have a lot of family there, and I know the type that they hate.
But you're right. Here's what I'll say from my opinion anyway. I can't speak for an entire country, unfortunately.
Come on,
But
please.
I know I'll try. I think it is a case of like you actually have like relatives out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who like you see
Yeah.
and you've went to them to visit them. You've been to weddings, you know, all this here. Whereas a lot of them are just like, oh yeah, I'm like Irish, and you're like, oh okay, like, you know, where are they from? I don't know.
Yeah.
Or you're like, have you seen them recently? No, it was like great.
No, I would never go near them.
And you're like, what?
No, but it's deeper than that though, because that is an annoying part. And that, oh, you're Irish, me too, whatever. But can you explain the perception of Irish Americans to real Irish people? Because it's not just like, oh yeah, I claim I'm Irish. That's a big part of it. But it's also like there's like an arrogance to it too, right?
Well, yeah, because it's like at the start it's kind of flattering because like you know, you're just liked here for no reason. You know what I mean? Like people, I don't understand anybody that stays in Ireland because I'm like, if you went anywhere else, you're just beloved. You know what I mean?
And literally at home, the way they show love is by hating you.
Yeah, at home, nobody gives a fuck about your accent, whatever. You take any man, woman from Ireland, right? If they get plopped off and they get dropped off anywhere on the planet, right? Especially America, right? And New York, by the way, where there's a huge Irish population, you would think that, oh, I've heard enough of this.
Yeah, we're
it
used to
doesn't
this.
faze me anymore.
Yeah.
Lad, anytime I go into an Irish bar and I order something, you just see every head in the bar turn and be like, holy shit, a real one.
A real one.
You're like, what? And
He's a wizard, Harry.
and lad, the common stereotype is Niall was actually saying on our podcast about this. So
Shock
there's
him.
Yeah,
it goes for you too.
So he was talking about in Japan they have a thing called loser back home, which is where like an American guy who, you know, in America is kind of just like a bit jaded, whatever. He's like, I want something new. Move to Japan and just immediately with zero effort pulls like an absolute 10 out of 10, right? And it is definitely the case. I've done some shows where I've been like chatting to people, whatever, and you can spot an Irish person a mile off at the shows, you know.
You could spot them a mile off.
Oh my God, easy. I actually did the Dead Rabbit, and I was like, I'll tell you right now who's Irish in here. You're Irish, you're not, you claim to be. You're Irish, and one of the guys was there, I was
You
like,
claim to be.
I was like, you're definitely from Ireland. And he goes, yeah, I'm from Monaghan, lad. And I was like, who's this with you? And he goes, this is my girlfriend. Lad, absolute, like, supermodel. To quote Ayaz, that girl like something off a poster, right? And this was like just your standard kind of like Irish bog flinging.
Well, there's more to just like the accent is probably
Bog slinging.
it's probably 50% of it. But then there's also like
Natural charisma.
charisma and etiquette that a lot of Americans don't have.
Yes.
A lot of Americans are cheap. Irish guys, no matter how, no matter how cheap they are or how broke they are, sorry, they'll pay for a woman's drinks all night. I've had an Irish guy try to hit on a girl that I was with at a bar, and I was like, this is great. He'll buy her drinks all night. But like American guys are just like cheap. So there's a couple layers to it. But I will say the accent is probably half of it.
Here's the thing, right? Because I've thought about etiquette before too. Now, you would be an exception to this, Liam, right?
Thank you.
Stromboli, I don't know you well enough to know. My initial impression would be you're probably an exception too, but I don't know.
Well,
American men are retarded. that is literally.
it sounded like you were about to do a political speech.
Like, and I will stand on that.
Let me be clear. American men, they are retarded.
And it's a specific subcategory of American men, right? And
The subs.
we're talking like finance bro type, maybe like, you know, like the peak in college, never really kind of progressed since then, whatever. Like I remember one time I was out in Brooklyn with my friends Ash and Caitlin. And we were out and we were having a couple of drinks, whatever. We got absolutely smashed during the day. Went to a fortune teller, then went to Brooklyn at night, and we were drinking in this bar, and I saw this guy like just making dart eyes at Ash.
Mhm.
She was dancing to a bit of UGK.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
All right.
She was throwing it back. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
Ash.
And
Throwing that Ash back.
it was great, and we were having a good time. And I see this guy just like fucking deaf stare the whole night, and I'm like, "That's right." So I'll just keep an eye on this cunt, whatever, make sure everything's grand. And then he comes over and he goes. By the way, this woman, like, you know, fully like in a committed relationship. You know what I mean? So this guy walks over and he goes, "This was his open." He goes, "From the second you walked in this bar, I just couldn't take my eyes." And I came in and I was like, "All right, fucking Romeo, get the fuck out of here, you fucking bollocks, you. What the fuck are you doing right now, lad?" Right? So he assumes that I'm her boyfriend.
You didn't want to hear the end of that poem?
So
That was going to be a limerick.
the second you walked in this bar, I still hear it in my head sometimes. So he assumes I'm the boyfriend, right? And I'm like, I will play this role just for the sake of getting rid of this fucking arsehole, whatever. And he goes, as soon as I come over, he literally throws his arms up. I go, "Whoa, sorry, man. You know, I didn't know, man. I didn't know. Fuck, man. My bad, man." And then he goes, we start talking for a bit, and I'm like, "Yeah, man, it's grand, whatever. Just, you know, chill out a wee bit." You know what I mean? And then he goes, "Yo, man, you know what, man? She's a lucky woman, man. I gotta say, man, she's a lucky woman. You're a good guy, man." And he goes, "Hey, yo, you know what, man? I'm gonna hook you up, man."
Oh.
Right? Dude, I swear on my father's grave, right? This guy pulls out a fucking wallet, right? And he goes, "So, man, I actually do a bit of work for these guys, and you know, I want you to have this, man." He gives me $100 Outback Steakhouse gift card, right? And first of all, I've never been to Outback, so I'm like, "What is this?" And he goes, "Dude, man, listen, how long you been in this country for?" I was like, "None of your business." And he goes, "Listen, man, you take your woman here, man. It's on me."
Oh my God.
And I was like, "All right, man." And then I went back. Again, I had no idea what Outback Steakhouse was. I was like, "Fuck, maybe I got like a good one for her, whatever."
Hey, man.
And she was buzzing. She's like, "I love Outback Steakhouse." So I was like, "All right, perfect."
You end up taking the guy with you. You know what? Let's hear the end of that riddle, huh? Damn, that's when you said, then he said, "She's a lucky woman." I thought he was going to be like, "She's a lucky woman. From the moment you walked in here, man." Just turns it back on you. By the way, shout out to Outback. Have you been since?
I haven't been.
Outback, like that was the one, like me and my family, we would get to go out to eat once a year. and it was usually Outback, and that was like from then on I always was like, no, we're going out. No matter what. If it was like, oh no, we can maybe go to this other place that's kind of nice. No, we're going to Outback. Outback is
When did
fire.
you last go to Outback?
I haven't been in a while because the one in Queens closed, and I haven't felt the same since.
Lad, I've been on a mission to try and go to the Cheesecake Factory in Queens, but it is 45 minutes away. Like,
The Cheesecake Factory is in, like, I would get a panic attack in there. Like, there's like, that menu is 75 pages long.
I'll walk you through the minefield. It's a beautiful establishment.
Also, Aaron became American the day he moved here. Like, he was just not diner, Cheesecake Factory. What was the other one? Fucking Outback credit cards. I feel like the day you were just like, I was like, most Irish guys move here and then they're like, oh wow, bars are open 4 a.m. You're drinking every night. You were like, diners are open 24/7.
It blows my mind. I can't get my head around it.
That's
I
hilarious.
really can't. Like, even, you have to understand, like, you know, my first impression of New York was Home Alone 2. I was a child in Ireland watching Kevin McAllister in the back of a limo eating a pizza, and I was like, man, I can't believe we're on the same planet as this place.
One day, my mom will put me on the wrong plane. And my family will abandon me, and 2 guys will try to kill me for no reason at all.
Well, my first time, this is fun actually to reflect on. My first time in New York was 2007. So I was I was 13 years of age, right? And could have easily been a Home Alone scenario. So I don't think this hotel exists here anymore, but the hotel that we stayed in was directly opposite Madison Square Garden. So like Times Square was just a short walk from it, right? And I'll never forget my mother and father, my brother and me. And on like the second day, mum, dad, my brother Nicholas were all going to a concert. And my mother literally just put in my hand like $50 and was like, yeah, go do whatever you want to do.
Whoa.
So I'm walking about Times Square by myself, right? And what I do is I go to this like one like just convenience store, walk in by myself like a Nesquik. I'm like, lad, they've got Nesquik. It's fucking mad. It's fucking mad.
Gonna go crazy.
I'm like literally like, it's too much dopamine. Like, and then right beside it was this like the magic shop, right? And so I'm like, oh my God, a magic shop. I was like, I've never been to a magic shop. They don't have magic shops in Tyrone. So
Nesquik and a magic shop. You're like, I've found the promised land.
So I walk in and it was like a spiral staircase going up, and I go up. There's nobody else in the shop, and then all of a sudden, this guy like comes over and like very old fella, you know, it's just me and him, and he was like very like whimsical, you know. So like he kind of like floated over to me, and he goes,
I don't like where this is going.
He goes, hey man, he's like, you wanna see some tricks? And I was like, you're all good. That's him now on the phone. And I was like, 13 years of age at the time. I was like, hadn't seen any of the impurities of the world. Didn't think there was anything wrong with this. Now at 30 years of age, I'm like, I fully could have been molested by a magician.
I mean, molested by a magician. Aaron's second hour coming soon. Oh my God.
So I'm in there, right? And he's like, yeah, man. He's like, I've owned this magic store here for like, 20 years. And, he's like, I've been a magic nerd for my whole life. And he's like, hey, let me show you a couple of tricks. And he immediately does this thing where like fucking sparks come out of his hand and a card comes out. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck, lad? And at this point, I'm like, I've broke the matrix. Like, I'm not in reality anymore.
Wild. Wait, how old are you again?
13.
So you're 13 in New York, first time ever by yourself.
Yes. In a magic shop. With this potential pedophile.
I mean, you never want to hear a story where it's a child with an adult stranger and you describe him as whimsical.
Yeah.
That's never a good thing.
So the one magic trick that really got me, he's like, hey, you got any dollars on you? He goes, I promise you'll get it back. And I was like, okay. So I pull out like out of my 50, I've only bought a Nesquik. So I've still got a good few USDs on me.
You got a couple of Nesquiks left in you.
There's a good few Nesquiks left in the pot. So I take out a 20 and I give it to him and he goes, all right, watch this. And he goes, so, money itself is like very much, once you remove the value of it, it is just paper at the end of the day. Stabs a pen through it. I'm like, oh my God. My mom's gonna fucking kill me. This mental cunt has just drove a pen through my fucking 20, right? And then he just pulls the pen away. Nothing wrong with a note. And I was like, oh my God. Like 13-year-old me is like, I don't even know what an erection is, but I've got one. Right?
Yeah, that's why he did it.
And then so I'm like, how did you do that? And he goes, magician can't reveal his secrets. And I was like, please tell him I can't. You expect me to go back out there into the real world knowing this knowledge? Right? And he goes, all right, I'll show you. And then it turns out the pen itself has a magnet on it. So he had the base of the pen down here, then he had the other bit here, rested the note on top of her, did the fucking whatever, and then pulled it away. And of course, because it was a magnet, it stayed intact.
Oh
right?
my God.
And I was like, oh my God. And he goes, yeah, he goes, now that you've seen the trick, well, now you know how the sauce is made. This could be yours too. And I was
This
like,
is
really?
Willy Wonka.
I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. He's like, this here's right here is $30. And I was like, well, gee whiz, sir. As it would have it, I've only bought, thank God, I only bought one Nesquik.
I've got a gift card to Outback Steakhouse.
So, dude, I buy the magic set, right?
Oh man.
I go back to my hotel. I'm fucking buzzing. I tear it out of the packet. I get the pen, and then I'm like, all right, you know what? This could be my calling in life. I'm supposed to be a magician, right? So I go out into Times Square.
No.
And I walk up to random families, and I go, hi, how are you? First of all, to hear the accent and see him by myself, and they go, are you okay? Like, where is your family? And I'm like, you guys got a note on you?
How do you immediately go from victim to scammer? You went from like getting assaulted by the Times Square Elmo to putting on the suit.
Lad, I walked around Times Square doing that magic trick, and some people, looking back, were probably like, I know exactly how you've done that, but at the time they were like, oh wow, that's crazy. And I'm like, I know, I have the magic hands.
And a lot of them were probably like, this poor kid is here by himself, clearly not in his country of origin. He needs money to live. Or he's being forced by some pedophile magician to do this.
Yeah.
Let me just give him $5.
Oh man, what a magic time.
What did your mom say when you went back?
So I did the trick on her. It was like eventually like couldn't wait for them to get home. And of course my dad, classic Irish guy, like didn't even play along whatsoever. He's like, how much did you spend on that shite there?
Well, that's the Irish Home Alone.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you spent $50 on room service? What the fuck? It's not like, Kevin, are you okay? It's like, for fuck's sake, Aaron, how much did you spend on this?
No more home.
like, honest to God, an Irish dad would have beat the fuck out of Kevin McAllister. That family was way too understanding.
Whenever I watch that movie and they find out about, your credit card's been charged in Times Square, I'm like, oh, fuck, Kevin is toast. But they're like, okay, good, he's in New York. I'm like, oh, they're not mad.
Yeah.
Why are they not mad? Damn. I'm so glad you're alive and not touched.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, it's like if you see a 13-year-old New Yorker walking around Times Square, it's like, all right, well, that's a grown-ass adult.
Yeah.
But if you hear an accent, you're like, this kid could get taken any second.
Lad, I was telling you before, is like every time I see a child in this city, it just blows my mind. It's like when I went to Las Vegas and saw that there was hospitals, and I was like, people are born here? That's fucking crazy.
So you're like, people are kids here?
It's mental.
I do feel like New York should be 21 and up.
100%.
What if there were some states where it's like, all right, no, you gotta, let me see some ID.
I actually think that's a pretty good idea.
New York City specifically, maybe like Queens and the boroughs you could live, but like Manhattan, I feel like you should forget the congestion pricing, show ID when you drive in.
Yeah, because like you have no children in restaurants. Some people do no kids weddings. I think states is the next level up.
But I feel like if you're born in New York, you're a kid, you should be allowed to be here.
But the kids here are menaces.
Yeah, but they
grow up with, it's like too much. You know what I mean? Like whenever I was in Omagh, you had to get to a certain age where your ma would let you into the town, and you thought this was the craziest thing ever.
What age was that?
What age did I get to go into the town? It was definitely in primary school. Might have been like, say, P5, P6, whatever.
That's pretty early though.
But like you would go into town, like, and you would meet your friends. At the time we just had the Sony Ericsson Walkman phones.
Harry, you don't have to brag.
Yeah, I know. Big flex. And you'd meet your friends at the Irish Blockbuster, aka Extravision. And you just go on and you would just look at the games. You just look at them.
Sorry about that. I have to pay the meter.
Oh, you're all good.
Sorry, Chris.
My man had the whole windshield blocked off.
Oh
Last
my
time he was
God.
here.
I feel like I have to. Sorry to finish with the Extravision, and then I'll tell you.
No,
about,
that's it.
I'll tell you about my trauma.
Yeah, I was about to say, have we talked about this yet? And then I was like, well, this is your first episode, so you haven't got to yet.
Yeah, I should. I have PTSD just being in this studio, to be honest with you. So the first time
That's
I came
Fringe Podcast, everyone at home.
shout out to Fringe Podcast, more like Cringe Podcast, if I'm right. The first time I came here, I was like, I just left my car it was commercial parking only, but it's meter. So like sometimes you get away with that. Sometimes they're like, all right, well at least whatever. It's not no standing. Like no one's coming here except the commercial vehicles. So I'm like, all right, I'll be really quick. I'll run up. I'll talk to Chris. I'll come back. We talk. It's all good. Then I'm like, all right, well, what's one more minute? So I'm like, let me go to the bathroom real quick before I leave. I go back and I'm like, you know what? That was such a good meeting. I'm excited for future endeavors with Fringe Podcast that even if there's a ticket on my windshield, I don't care. So I'm like walking to the car and I'm like mentally prepared to see orange piece of paper on my windshield. I'm like, you know, whatever, it's fine. I have an ease about myself in life. I go to my windshield and there's a giant Men in Black alien on covering the entire windshield. And I didn't even know what this was. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like it looked like someone just like is in the middle of hijacking my car, but just stopped and took a smoke break or something.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what the hell? What is this? And there's like a pin with numbers on it. And I'm like, what? And then there's a paper on my window that says, go to this address if you want your car. And I'm like, why am I solving riddles to get my car? Like it's fucking Jumanji.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what the hell? And then some guy comes out from the restaurant right in front and he goes, you just missed him, man. You just missed him. And I'm like, what? And he was like, he was there a minute ago. I was on the phone the whole time watching him. I'm like, all right, you're enjoying this too much. I look at the paper. It said that he put that thing on at 1:20. I got there at 1:21.
Crazy.
And just as I'm like, you know, I don't have to rush. I'll take whatever. And then 1 minute, I was off. And then the guy's friend comes out and goes, what the hell's on that car? And I'm like, oh. And then the guy goes, that's the new boot. And he's like, boot? That's not a boot. And he's like, yeah, that's the 2025 boot. And he's like, that's the 2025 boot? Oh, cool. And I'm like, it's not cool. It's not a fucking Yeezy drop. I'm not able to drive my car. What is going on? So I had to leave it there and go to Brooklyn, take the train to Brooklyn to pay for it. By the way, dumbest punishment ever, where they don't want us to park there, so the punishment is to park there longer.
Insane.
How does that make sense?
That doesn't make any sense.
It's like the classic, like, you got caught smoking cigarettes, so the dad makes you smoke the whole pack.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this doing?
Yeah.
This is counterproductive. So I took the train to Brooklyn, to the Pound or whatever it's called. Everyone in there is so mad. I don't know if it's actually called the Pound, but it should be called
Isn't
the
that where
Pound.
you get dogs?
Yes.
Impound.
I'm going to call it the Pound.
All right.
Get there. You would already expect everyone to be so mad because everyone either just got towed or a boot. So I'm like, all right, these people that work there are going to be so angry and on edge. So let me just try to be calm. I go in there. They're already like ready to fight. Like they're like, every sign on the wall is like, assaulting someone who works at the Pound is you could do 10 years in jail. And I'm like, what is happening? And they're like, do not, just drive better. Do not take it out on us. And I'm like, all right, these are passive aggressive signs.
It said just drive better. Don't take it out on us.
Something like that. It was like, just
mad.
this is for your safety. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And then at one point I hear
You
someone's
did
on
this yourself, you pathetic cunt.
yeah, exactly. What, you can't afford $300, you broke motherfucker? There's a guy on the phone on AirPods, and he's like, I'm about to flip the fuck out. And I'm like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
And then this was the last straw. I'm like, all right, I'm finally out of there. And I'm like, do you have a bathroom before I go? And she goes, we do, but I don't know what shape it's in. And then she pointed, it was like a horror movie where she's like, and then everyone looked that way. They looked at me like, this guy's really gonna go in that bathroom?
Yeah.
And I was like, how bad could it be? It was literally like a hole. It was like a jail cell bathroom where it was like just a hole. There was like this much of a sink, no paper towel, no toilet paper, no. It was just like, oh man, I feel like I was on Shutter Island.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I'm never getting out of here.
Yeah.
I was like, I think I work for the DMV now or whatever. Yeah. So shout out to Fringe Podcasts.
Did you use it?
I did use it.
Yeah.
I was like, whatever.
That's your shit.
Piss. I wouldn't.
You wouldn't shit.
It would have to be a real emergency.
Yeah.
Are you one of those guys that only number twos at home?
No.
Oh wait, actually, you might have just done it right now.
No. I just pitched there now.
Yeah, so that was a tough one. But we're better now. Now I took the train in. By the way, my train, the conductor or whatever the fuck today, he was like old school, like giving updates every 5 seconds on the train.
I love
where he was
that.
like, all right, we're going 71st now. You could transfer here, you could transfer here. Don't worry, it'll only be a couple minutes. I'm like, I love this guy.
Yeah.
Even though it was like way too loud and right in my ear, I was like, I kind of like this.
I like it when a conductor has a wee bit of like, pizzazz about them. Like I've seen a couple of videos on like Instagram of like conductors that are really, good showmen.
Yeah.
They're hoping to be noticed.
Yeah.
Some Hollywood execs in there have been like, who is this conductor?
No, but also I feel like they're not waiting to be noticed, and that's why they should be noticed.
Yeah.
I feel like some of them have great voices and they have that pizzazz, like you're saying. We should go on trains and try to scout for like America's next top announcer.
Is this a hot take? I love the MTA.
Okay, maybe you're not a real New Yorker yet. All right, well, let's scrap that.
I think it's great.
I think you're halfway there being a New Yorker.
I'm a big fan of the MTA. I want an MTA jacket.
You want an MTA jacket?
Yeah.
Why, you want to get assaulted?
No, I want. They look cozy. I like the logo. You know what I mean? They do. They look. I went to McDonald's and an MTA worker came in. He took his jacket off and he put it at one of the mixed seats. And the inside of it was like quilted. And I was like, damn, I know he's cozy. And I had to stop myself from going up to him because he looked like he was an XL. And I was like, how much for this? Can you just say you lost that and they will give you another one?
That's true.
You know what I mean?
I have wanted to do that with the Parks Department jackets, but then now that's a thing. Like companies sell it.
Yeah, well,
that's what I hate. I like when it's like, oh, yeah, that's cool. I would wear that MTA jacket. And then someone from Nebraska moves here and then starts a clothing line of it. I'm like, all right, shut up.
Yeah.
It's $300
to
say that you clean up parks.
Well, did you see that I bought a lamp from a streetwear brand called Only NY?
Oh, that's the company that that sells those Parks Department shirts.
I think they're pretty fly. They have a lamp, right? I went full like this is. I understand what this looks like to someone who lives here, but to me, as someone who wanted to live here for years, finally lives here, I'm like, all right, let me lean into it a wee bit. You know what I mean? Also, I wanted a couple of things in my room that remind me that I live here, so I don't go full slug mode in the apartment and just stay there all day.
I get that.
So that brand, they released a lamp, which is just like the MTA, like M, with the wee bit of green underneath.
Oh man!
And you turn it on, man,
brother.
It's a statement piece, like.
Brother, I don't know about this one.
And then I also bought for my pens. They have like a wee orange bin. And I bought that too, and I threw my pens in it. And I go, damn, only in New York.
Yeah, but you could flip that so that you're using it now as motivation to leave your house. You could flip that now where it's like, no, I don't have to leave. I have the MTA right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, there's a couple of things I wanna get to before we go. I'm doing a segment called Guilty Conscious. I feel guilty about everything I do in life. Yes. So I was wondering if you have something that you feel guilty about right now. I feel pretty guilty about, like I said 2 weeks ago when I ordered DoorDash and I didn't meet the guy at the gate. I'm going to spiral about that for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Is there anything that's on your mind right now?
Not by the way, the last time where you like abandoned your nephew in the basketball practice or whatever. You don't feel guilty about that?
All right. So Chris is referring to when we did your podcast. This is in the middle of the podcast. We're just like talking about like football or something. And then I'm like, oh, yeah. So I was supposed to pick up my nephew from basketball practice and couldn't do it. So I got my sister to do it for me and she's not there.
Yeah.
So, what were you saying about like drinking? All right, let me explain that. So I did feel guilty about that for a while. I know I didn't show it on the podcast because I'm a professional. But then later on I was like, did I fuck up? And then my sister was like, no, I got there like 5 minutes later to take him and he said he didn't want to go. I was like, let's go. But maybe now that's going to hijack his development as an athlete. So maybe I'm the reason he's not going to make it to the league.
Or maybe he is the reason, maybe you're the reason he does, because he's like, I'm neglected.
Maybe. That's true.
And then that pushes him.
Because I think he has too much love in his life.
Aye. Love's no good.
No,
it gets you nowhere.
It gets you I mean, both his parents are great parents. They show him so much love. I'm usually a great uncle. Yeah. I give him a lot of confidence. I just hype him up. He's too cozy, man.
Being an uncle's the best because it's like a simulator of having a kid, where you have like a wee mate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
We made-
You have a wee mate.
You do magic together.
Yeah. Oh, if I pulled the pen trick on your nephew, you know what I mean?
No, then you're gonna try to get him to do it in Times Square. Then you're gonna sell him the whole piece as to how you could do more magic for $30.99.
Man, listen, it's the magician grind. You know what I mean? Magicians are uploading reels now, but they subtitle them, stuff like that. They're doing podcasts. They're trying to get out there. You know what I mean?
Oh, do you have any guilt about like from that moment where your dad was like, "How much did you spend on this?" Because I have moments like that, like from my childhood. I still remember like the one time I put up a fit where I was like, I really wanted these like Rice Krispie treats at Target in 2002. And it was like the one time I was like, no, I've seen other kids do this. Let me try this. And my mom was so mad at me. And then towards the end, she was like, fine. And whenever my mom would do that, I feel like most kids, when the mom gives in, it was like, fine. They're like, yes, I got her. Whenever my mom would do that, I'd be like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
I feel so bad. And then she got them for me and I didn't like them. That haunts me to this day.
yeah. I feel guilty about everything. Like I wish I could like rewire my brain.
Yeah.
And just be like, stop feeling guilty about everything.
Do you ever feel guilty about stuff that has nothing to do with you and you've never done? Like if I see a cop car, I think like, oh no, they're coming for me.
I get that when I go through TSA because I'm like, they're not gonna let me in. This is the time they're not gonna let me in.
For no reason.
For no reason.
You've done nothing wrong.
But lad, here's the thing, right? I worked for 2 years to get that visa. Like the visa was my main objective for 2 years. Finally got it. Was like, you know what? This is great. Now I'll be able to go for TSA. They'll look at my visa. They'll be like, oh wow, he's fully living here. He has a right to live here. He obviously did work in his field to get here. We don't have to bother him at all. We just kind of swat him on and welcome back to the United States, Mr. McCann. That's never happened once. Every time I go through TSA in Dublin Airport, it is a fucking nightmare.
I will say though, Dublin is specifically like that.
Unbelievable.
I think that's more on Dublin than us.
Well, they're all Americans.
Yeah, but when I flew in from Shannon, it's no problem at all. Dublin, it's just like there's always something there.
Lad, last time, and what a humiliating job as well to have to say at customs. So humiliating. Like every time I do it, I'm like, maybe I should lie. And then I'm like, no, if I get caught in the lie, it's game over, whatever.
Yeah.
But every time I go up and they're like, oh, so you're on a performer's visa. So what is the performance type? And I go, oh, and I feel like embarrassed. I'm a comedian. And they go, oh, wow, comedy, huh? And they're like,
They turn
it's
to
Mark
Mark
Norman.
Norman.
Yeah, they're like,
Terrorist alert.
they're like, so, you know, are you any good? And I'm like, what the fuck has this got to do with anything?
So funny.
And they're like, you know, where do you perform? And I'm like, oh, well, you know, I was at Broadway and then something happened there. You know what I mean? I just give them my full
I'll
fucking
be at the
spin.
industry room this weekend.
Yeah. But I'm like, yeah, one time I was going through and this guy, like, I could be at the TSA, right, with a visa, and they're hounding me. Meanwhile, I look over and, like, 5 stations down, there is an Irishman there with a high-vis vest, a builder's hat, and he's like, oh, I'm just going on holidays, huh?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean?
You probably could just say that.
Yeah.
But also, what is with that question of, are you any, everyone says, oh, are you funny? Are you good? First of all, if you're funny, what person's going to be like, oh, I'm hysterical.
Yeah.
Oh, you've never seen anything like me.
An insufferable human being. The key to being any comedian that I've ever worked with who I've been a fan of or like really enjoyed their work, they are miserable.
They hate themselves.
They hate themselves. They think they're shite. They don't enjoy a single gig. They get a standing ovation and walk back to the green room afterwards and be like, what the fuck am I doing? Constant existential dread. And unfortunately, that is the cocktail that exists to a good comedian. People who walk off stage and go, man, I fucking murdered that place. And I'm like, you wouldn't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
You haven't a notion.
Have you ever heard that Colin Quinn quote where I feel like it's in the comedian documentary and he's like, yeah, the moment you know you're back and you're in your stride is when you're killing on stage and in your head you're miserable and you're like, big deal, I can make these idiots laugh.
Yes. Yes, 100%. And then it's so funny because, like, you know, you'll have a good gig, you'll have a couple of good gigs in a row, and you're like, sure, what does that matter? And then you have one bad gig, and you're like, I should quit this. I know I've been
Yeah.
doing this for 13 years, but I think it's finally took 13 years to realize I should just hang us up.
Yeah,
know what I
for
mean?
sure. And then even the highest of highs, I feel like it's so short lived.
Oh, it's fleeting.
Yeah,
It's totally fleeting.
and then if you watch the tape back, you're like, I thought this was good.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris, I know we're big on time, right?
You're good.
All right, cool. There's a couple more things I want to get to.
Okay.
This might be a sloppy one. I don't know. Is this sloppy?
No, it's good.
Chris, is this sloppy? Is this coming in?
It sounds like you want it to be sloppy. It's getting a little weird
See,
now.
that's why you're going to be a good podcaster. You know, you're not sitting there being like, this is great stuff. You're like, this is sloppy. This is the first episode. What a disaster.
Dude,
It's not going to get any better than this. Keep that. That's good. That's good stuff right
Well,
there.
no, the misery of it is I'm like, damn, last week on Aaron's podcast was so much better.
This is great crack.
I'm having fun.
I'm having fun.
All right. That's all that matters.
Yes.
It's better than when I saw Aaron on Saturday. So he mentioned a little bit about how he's a little down in the dumps, and I know how much Aaron loves diners. So I was like, hey, let's go to a diner. It's a really old school classic diner in Queens, Jackson Hole. Do you know that spot? It's where they shot some of Goodfellas, and we're like, let's go. And then we get there, and he's like, oh, I forgot it's cash only, and I'm like, fuck. And I was like, one time I was at a diner with Aaron, and while I was in the bathroom, he paid and was real smooth with it. So we're dating. But so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that back to him. You know, he's feeling a little down. Let's do this. And I'm like, fuck, it's cash only. And then I see they have an ATM, and he goes to the bathroom. I'm like, I'm gonna do the same thing he did. I go to the ATM, put my card in. It's like, cannot transfer, cannot transaction failed, suspected fraud. I'm like, fuck. And then I'm already kind of fucking with the waitress a little bit, but she's cool, she's into it.
Yeah.
That's what I tell myself anyway. And then I'm like, hey, the ATM's not working for me. We have some cash. This is every waitress's worst nightmare. We have some cash. Can I like Venmo your tip and we'll cover the bill in cash? And she's like, let me ask. And then I hear the guy telling her, no, just tell him we don't take Venmo. And I'm like, fuck. So I'm like, Aaron, hold on, stay here. I'll be right back. I'm just going to go. And I drove to a Chase. I stopped at an ATM at a gas station. Suspected fraud, cannot go through.
Yeah.
I then drive to another Chase. The diner's getting kind of busy, and Aaron's just in a booth by himself. And this lady's like, what? We're getting scammed by the IRA over here. And then I go to the Chase. I try 5 times at the Chase, and it's like, cannot go through. I'm like, what is happening?
You're poor. You're poor is what's happening.
Did I tell you the...
Please subscribe to this podcast.
We say crap back home, but obviously you guys say crepe.
Yeah, we say it the right way.
It's fucked up. I remember that. Crepe,
Speak
right?
English, bro.
So when I was in LA, I had a very similar thing happen, but I was actually on a date, right?
Yeah,
Did I tell you this?
yes, but say it anyway, because I was like, the only thing that could make this experience worse if I was on a date.
Yeah.
But it was you, so thank God.
So I was living in LA at the time, and I was going from job to job, and I just started this job at this advertising company, but they weren't gonna pay me until it was a couple of weeks before I got paid. But the weekend that was coming before payday was gonna hit, I was getting paid on the Monday, I think, and I had the weekend to myself. But I had literally $30 in my bank account.
Yeah.
Right. Matched with this girl on Tinder. I was like, I thought she was a bot, to be honest. And then we start talking.
Isn't it funny that's the utmost compliment?
Oh yeah.
Hey, baby, I thought you were a bot.
Yeah.
That's how beautiful you are.
So I'm chatting to this girl, whatever, and I'm like, hey, let's meet up. Do you know what I mean? Let's see what the crack is here. Let's get a coffee. You know, I was like, $30 cover a coffee, especially if I get it where I just have to get a bus into town or something like that. Get a coffee, and then 2 hours before the date, she's like, hey, looking forward to tonight. Just wondering, I'm really in the mood for a crepe. You want to go to this crepe place? And I'm like, well, how expensive are these crepes? Do you know what I mean? So then I'm like, all right, fuck it. I'm just going to go. And I get the bus into where the crepe place is. We get there. And I go up to the counter. And she's been to this place before. Lad, there's 120 options for these fucking crepes, right? You could get whatever you want in them. And I'm completely bewildered by the menu. She steps up first, and she's so confident, so beautiful as well. And she was just like, hey, can I have the Nutty Supreme? And the guy behind the counter is like, sure thing. And then he points at me and he goes, what about you, boss?
You were like, I was going to give her the Nutty Supreme.
I'm like, hey lad, could I just have a plain crap? And
There's no such thing.
He goes, what? And I goes, I just want a plain one, like. And he goes, you don't want any, like, we have so many toppings. And I was like, no, I'm aware of the topping.
You're like, shut up.
I'm aware of the topping system. I personally don't enjoy toppings in the crap. I'm just looking at a plain one. Do you know what I mean? No nutty supreme over here. Just good old fashioned Catholic plain crap. And so he does it. Like, he feels like he's on a hidden camera show, but he does it. And then he has the total amount on the thing. And I go to tap my card and it says insufficient funds. So then I turn to her and I was like, darn these Irish banks, you know, a bit weird. I was like, why don't you just grab a seat over there and I'll be over in 2 minutes, right? So then I turn to it again. I'm like, brother, what do you mean insufficient funds? And he goes, there's not enough money on the card for these craps. And I'm like, fucking hell. So I'm like panicking. Like, I'm like, what do I do here? Do I offer to wash dishes? You know, what do I offer to clock in for 20 minutes after she leaves? I don't know what to do. Reached in my pocket. Thank God someone was looking over me. I had $40. I had two 20s that were scrumpled up like this here, right? Give it to the fella. And I'm like, there you go, mate. Sorry about the inconvenience there, whatever. And then we're chatting. And the guy comes down the end of the table and she gets this fucking nutty supreme crap. And I'm sitting there with a plain crap. Like, literally, they did nothing to it. It was as plain as daylight. And I'm cutting into it, being
Like choking on it, it's so dry.
yeah, and I'm just like, cutting into this plain crap, being like, oh, 4 brothers? It's crazy. There's so many brothers. And then eventually I'm like, lad, how am I getting home? I don't have any money in my account. How am I getting home? Like, and then I'm like, okay, well, if I don't really feel like there's a connection or a spark here, but maybe out of the goodness of her heart, this woman will like offer to leave me home. You know what I mean?
Was she driving?
She drove in for the daytime. And so we finish up anyway. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm probably, where's a good place to Uber around here? You know, I have to order an Uber.
Planting the seed.
To get home, you know, Uber. And then she goes, oh, Ripley's, believe it or not. Probably a good place. And I was like, right, okay, no bother. Had a hug. And then I'm like, man, I've got nothing. Like, this is truly rock bottom. I called up my friend Josh, told him what happened, and before he agreed to pick me up, he was just like, brother, a plain crap.
Honestly, like, that's probably why she didn't drive you home.
I think so, yeah.
That's something you would hear on TikTok now of like, so I was on a date with a guy and then he ordered a plain crepe and I just got the ick.
Lad, I thank God, like, yeah, that's my biggest fear is like being part of like some sort of like public prank or going on a date with a girl who has a massive following online and she just is like, yeah, I went on a date with this guy and, you know, there's definitely something not right with him.
There's something so funny about my biggest fear is being part of a public prank. Like every move you make out there is just, you're not filming me, are you?
Oh, it feels like it. Even whenever I walk down like Union Square and the guys at the chess thing are like, hey man, you want a game? I'm like, fuck off.
Well, they are scamming you.
You're going to get me.
There's just no camera. They just want your money.
Well, it's not scamming if they've perfected a craft.
It's still they perfected the craft and now they're using it to scam. They're trying to hustle you.
But that's grand.
I respect it, but I'm just saying they're trying to get you.
I think I could do that with Connect 4. I'm not even joking. I'm nasty.
If I see you at Union Square Park with Connect 4 and you're like, how's it hanging? Would you want to have a game? I would shoot you in the head.
I'm so nice with it.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to start doing that.
Yeah.
That is great. Have you had this one? I've had this one a couple of times where the guy goes, bet you $5 I could tell you where you got those shoes.
Oh, lad, that happened to me.
You've had this one?
Yeah, that happened to
I've
me.
never done it, but I've seen it be done. And then, do you know this trick?
No, I got caught with the CD with like first time coming to New York. Little
rookie
boy.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could call that.
Did you pay?
I think so.
Rookie
You have
mistake.
to, man. Yeah, on the spot.
I was like 11, dude.
Damn, he got you when you were 11?
Did
Did he show you a magic trick?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he made your money disappear.
Yeah.
And the magic is there's no music on that CD.
Yeah, it's just full
Nah,
of.
that shit
It's
was
a
hard,
gay
actually.
porn with him in it.
Oh,
Shit
really?
was hard.
You listened to it?
Sean something, yeah. His name was like Sean John or something like
Sean.
that.
It was P. Diddy, actually. That magician was P. Diddy the whole time. Yeah. Damn. No, the shoes thing is, I bet you I could tell you where you got those shoes. And then you're like, where? And then he's like, on your feet. And then they're like, give me all your money.
I got caught with that.
He got
And
you?
I paid up, yeah.
I mean, at
Because the
least
guy
that's-
goes, if I can tell you where you got your shoes at, his was a wee bit phrased differently now. He's like, he was also quite whimsical. He was like, if I can tell you where you got your shoes at, you give me $5. And I was like, if he says fucking,
if he says pennies,
if he says active sport Noma, I'll give him $50.
yeah, respect it.
And I'm like, gone ahead. And he goes, you got your shoes on Times Square, New York. And I'm like, oh, you crafty wee fox. And I give him the money. And I was like, gone away now.
That's the thing about New York scammers is they have charisma.
They do.
So they kind of earn their scamming.
Whimsical.
So like you should pay them.
Yeah.
They should get paid by the city of New York.
I think so too.
They should have a base salary. Like you're already taking all our money for this congestion pricing. Give some of that to the good scammers.
Yeah.
Some of them are just like jerks and they're just trying to strong arm you. But the good ones, let's give them a salary.
Yeah.
And then anything they make from the foreigners, that's just their tip.
It depends on my mood. Like
Foreigners
sometimes.
sounds crazy.
Yeah, the foreigners will deal with it.
I love that's the thing. Like my uncle would always say, my uncle was from Ireland and he thought it was so funny to call anyone in America foreigners. He would
Yeah.
always say that. So now I say it sometimes when I'm like, now it just sounds racist when I say it.
Yeah.
I just let's do a voiceover. Anything they make from the tourists,
Yeah, there you go.
that's their tip.
There you go.
Foreigners is so fun though.
Yeah.
When we were at the diner, I was using his charger and he had this adapter, the European adapter, and I was like, "Well, sorry, I got this foreigner charger. This is the green card iPhone 6 charger." And I was like,
Yeah,
I should
I-
stop saying that out loud.
It was a Nintendo Switch charger attached onto the European. It looked mental.
Oh, so I also haven't spoken to you about you went to the Mac Miller event, the movie showing.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was great.
So what was it? Did they play the album and it was visuals with it?
Yeah, it was like an animated, like I'll say, visual accompaniment to the album. So it played a couple of songs off it, and it was very it was one of them few moments in my life where I wish I was high because it seemed like a very high thing to look at.
Yeah.
You know? But sober, it was pretty good too.
They didn't play the whole album, just a couple.
No, they played a couple of tracks just.
And then, so how long was it overall?
It was like, say, about 25, 30 minutes.
That's pretty cool, especially because I don't know. I used to watch all his interviews, and he would talk about how he would be in the studio with like animal documentaries on.
Yeah.
You ever hear that?
Yeah.
That was like part of like watching movies with the sound off. He would
Yeah.
have a beat playing and just have like a turtle documentary.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like it very much fits his vibe.
Yeah, 100%.
That's pretty
It was
cool.
great. I really liked it. I love Mac Miller.
Yeah, me too. I listened to the album. I love it, but it's so eerie.
Oh, it's the... Brother, let me tell you, son, I've been listening to a lot of balloonerism these past couple of days, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, that's why you're crying on the train.
Yeah, of course. Lad, also, like, blonde, when you're in a certain place, that's what got me on the train.
I've been there, brother.
Yeah, that's what got me on the train today.
Yeah.
I have, like, go-to, like, breakup albums, Igor and Blonde, and both of them together is just a living nightmare.
I was saying this before we got here. Aaron is very evolved as an Irishman. He feels his feelings. He knows his emotions. He talks about his emotions.
I'm a sensitive critter, yeah.
You're a sensitive critter.
Yeah,
And I love that about you.
thank you. I appreciate that.
We'll be right back. Oh, speaking of rap, we were saying before, I don't know if this has been noticed before, but the Drake-Kendrick beef, this last string of it started with Drake and J. Cole on the first-person shooter saying, "Big is the Super Bowl." Has anyone pointed out that now it's come full circle and now Kendrick is performing at the Super Bowl and it started with Drake's being like, "I'm as big as the Super Bowl."
Lad, when you said that, I was like, that's the first time I've put those two things together.
I don't know, maybe it's been said before, but that is wild.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's how it all started with like, "I'm so big, I'll do the Super Bowl." Now Kendrick, off the back of dissing Drake, is doing the Super Bowl.
Now, you have to think as well, is this going to lead to, will he do Not Like Us at the Super Bowl? Will he call Drake a pedophile at the Super Bowl?
On national television
Yeah.
with millions of people watching.
It'd be unbelievable.
He's gonna let the crowd do it.
Yeah.
But
But even playing the song
Even
is
playing
like
the song.
pretty fucking...
I could see it going either way because I think, yeah, I could see him being sat. Like he did it 6 times at the pop-up, but I could see him being like, I don't want to give him the satisfaction. I have my own hits. I'll just do that. Also, I could see the NFL being like, hey, don't play that song about the pedophile.
It's the NFL thing more than he wants to call Drake a pedophile up there very badly.
He
hates that guy a lot.
Yeah.
You can tell that's a genuine hate.
Bro, when he did it 6 or 7 times at that concert over and over and brought every NBA player and rapper from LA on stage. I was like, oh, this is quite the victory lap. And now still, like 6 months later, he dropped GNX and he's still like angry.
Those diss tracks though, like 3 of them, all so different. Like Euphoria is my favorite to play personally. I just really love it. And Not Like Us is like, you know, he was like, oh, you think I can't make a banger? I'll make a banger that calls you a nonce. And then the third one, but Meet the Grams, I can't listen to that. It's too dark.
Even when that came out and I was so in it, and I'm such a big Kendrick fan, I was like, finally he's going at Drake. I was like, no, this is too crazy.
It was eerie. Like I lit sage in my room after I listened to it.
I honestly, that's what made me kind of scared about this beef. I was like, I hope no one gets hurt.
Yeah.
Because also it's like so many people watching this and we're all like, oh, this is so entertaining. And I'm like, okay, but let's not hurt each other.
Yeah.
Because that could easily go from that. And then all of our entertainment is now causing people to be in bad situations.
It is pretty funny how like people get at the start of the beef where they're like, yeah, fucking wreck him, kill him. And then they're like, oh, I hope nobody like.
Yeah. And then it's like, it was just the entertainment of suburban white kids like, yo, fuck, if Drake comes here, it's over for him. Like, all right. I don't know what Chris is going to do in Stamford, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Let's find out, dude.
Damn, this podcast came full circle where it started with us fighting and it ended in me threatening him.
I love that.
Okay, speaking of rap, I want to do a segment on this show where, so a lot of people don't know that I used to be a rapper, obviously. And a lot of my comedy friends, some of them know and most of them have never seen it. So I want to get people's live reactions.
Okay.
This is very vulnerable for me.
Okay.
I'm going to show you a video of me rapping when I was like 21.
This is what this is for?
This is the whole time I was just like, should I show him? Should I not?
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just looking at porn. But so I don't even want the audio to go through or the video. I just want to watch him react. Can we do
Okay.
that?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I guess it won't be good audio. I guess.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see. Yeah, we might
Let
cut
him
all
react.
of this.
Yeah.
All right.
No. It'll be funny.
We do a segment on this show called First Impressions. Do you have any first impressions you want to share? It's an impression that you're going to do for the first time for me.
Oh.
You want me to start while you think of one?
Yeah.
Okay, this is Ja Rule. This is Ja Rule on his first day of having Alzheimer's. What's my motherfucking name?
10 out of 10. I cannot beat that. Do you have one for me? I can't think of even like.
Who I want you to do?
Yeah. Give me a celebrity in a scenario.
Can you do Larry David at a Centra?
No, I really can't. I need another one. Great location though.
Okay. Can you do? Let's see. Can you do Tyler the Creator at a Penny's?
Yo, these fucking sweatshirts are 2 pounds. That's fucking crazy. I'm a fucking walking paradox. I'm gonna go buy a pair of socks.
Oh, Stromboli with the bars. So do you still rap? Liam,
I do want to. I want to do some parodies. I was telling Chris last time that so in that year actually, I got through auditions to be on Netflix. Did like a rap version of American Idol. It was called Rhythm and Flow, which is the worst name. Yeah, the corniest name possible.
Yeah.
It was a big show at the time, though.
Did it do well? I feel like people were kind of.
They made a big deal out of it for sure.
Cardi B was. It was when I was I did the in-person audition, so I made it through the online bullshit, and it was at SOBs, and it's at
That's
SOBs.
awesome.
The judges were Cardi B, Fat Joe, and Jadakiss. Yeah, so I rapped for Cardi B, Fat Joe, and Jadakiss.
brother. That is, it doesn't even matter. That's insane.
Yeah, I'm quitting comedy. I'm going back to rapping.
Yeah.
This is all I needed. This podcast is never going to air. This was just to get my confidence up. No, so I went. There were a lot of people that they had already known were like getting through, and they had when they do the promos before like a boxing fight, where they would be like, yeah, I had that interview yesterday in Brooklyn. I'm like, they were doing interviews?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay. And I went like 20th, and we were there all day, and we were in this like little like holding place all day, and they were like torturing us. There was like no food, whatever. It sucked. And then right before the person before me went up, they stopped, and the producers talked to them like, you said yes to too many people. Because the girl who went before that, she got a yes, and the next day they called her, and they were like, you're not going. Yeah, that sucked. So,
That's tough.
that being said, I pretty much knew like, all right, I have no shot, whatever. But it was fun. That was like, I had a good time. And then and Fat Joe goes, listen, you're cool, but if you're going to be out here trying to be white, and I on the mic was like, trying to be white. And he goes, there's cats out here like Eminem, so you got to be, know what I'm saying? And I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
And then, so I remember getting like, I did like okay in the thing, but I remember getting more laughs, and I was like, maybe I should do comedy.
Yeah.
But since then, I told all my friends that, and I was like, fuck Fat Joe. If I ever see Fat Joe, it's on site. 2 weeks later, I don't know. Do you know the show Jesus and Mero?
No.
It was there's these two guys from the Bronx. They had a show on Vice, and then they had a show on Showtime. It's like a late night show. These two guys from the Bronx, really funny. They were just like shoot the shit with these celebrities. They had an event for the Knicks draft lottery, and everyone thought the Knicks were going to get the first pick that year, so it was a big thing. And I went to that because I knew someone who was a writer on the show, and it was the guests that week were Fat Joe and Jadakiss. And this is 2 weeks later, and we're at this bar in like the Lower East Side, and I'm telling my friend who knows the guy who got us in, and I'm like, yeah. So basically, if I see Fat Joe, it's on site. And I'm like fucking around, obviously, but he didn't really know that. And then 5 minutes later, Fat Joe, we end up next to each other, me and him, and he gestures to some drunk guy in the bar to me, and he goes like this. He points to the guy and then looks at me and goes, does basically the Fighting Irish Notre Dame logo. So all my friend sees is me say, yeah, if I see Fat Joe, it's on site. Then we're right next to each other, and Fat Joe is going to me. And I'm like, oh, this, if I was high and saw this, I would be out of my mind.
Yeah.
But, we didn't squash the beef, but I decided to play it cool.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was wild.
That's I have no idea about any of this.
Yeah,
The
but there's
fact
a
you
reason.
kept that under wraps is
Wait,
mad.
What? You never asked.
Hey, any chance you used to rap back in the day? I feel like you probably did.
Liam, your swag is impeccable.
You ever beef with Fat Joe?
Yeah, Fat Joe, have you ever gotten your nerves too?
It's like everyone's dream is for someone to be like, hey, you ever do stand-up? You're
Yeah.
so funny. I'm just waiting for someone to be like, do you ever rap?
Yeah.
You have insane stage presence.
Wu-Tang t-shirt, cardigan. Yeah, you probably threw out a couple of freestyle Wednesdays back in the day, right?
Freestyle. That's what I. Oh, is that
One
what it
take
said?
Wednesdays.
One take Wednesday. That's what I would call it.
The rapping was impeccable. I don't know what Fat Joe's problem is, right? Also, saying cats, what a loser. There's cats like Eminem. Don't say cats. You're nearly 50.
That's why he's saying cats.
He's gonna.
That's a 50-year-old thing.
He's
to say.
old Joe now.
He's old Joe.
Old Joe. Old Joe just.
Old Joe is the guy in your village that goes to the pub. Oh, old Joe's down there at McCann's.
Yeah, but he's like barred from the bar, but
Yes.
he's like knows the nephew or something.
Wait, can we talk real quick about? There's a thing in Ireland where people can get barred just for specific drinks.
Yeah.
Where it'd be like, I tried to order
Oh,
a tequila in my granny's village when I was there for a wedding. And they're like, tequila? Huh, it's 6 o'clock. And I'm like, you guys have been drinking since 11 a.m. But they're like, we don't have tequila here. And then my sister was like, they probably only don't have it because of one person. And they're like, yeah, actually, yeah. Tommy from down over, like he had too many tequilas. We stopped serving tequila.
Yeah.
Like there's some people that can only have pints. We don't give any spirits to them. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
To get barred just from one drink
Makes
is
sense.
amazing.
I'm on par.
It's great.
I remember there's a bar in the town and there's a drink called a snake bite, which is like Guinness with a wee bit of blackcurrant in it. Now I have no idea why the bit of blackcurrant makes it any more terrible. I'm thinking it was a Guinness and blackcurrant. But anyway, whatever the drink was, I remember one time I overheard at the bar one of the bartenders be like, no, don't you be trying that shit. You're not allowed it. So this fella had like went up to someone at the bar, being like, hey, can you order me a snake? Like, no, not for you, Tom. Get the fuck, you know. So it does happen. I've seen it with my own eyes.
That exact scenario is basically how I got kicked out of a after party in Ireland this past summer.
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna go into that, but that's something as simple as that is where all the drama started. Sorry, go back to shitting on my rapping.
Okay, so rapping's great. You know, I was giving you a dig there about your hands and all, but you have to use them. You know, this one was my favorite.
That's when you're really spitting. You do the
Look at all these words that I'm rhyming.
yeah. You got to pretend like there's a parrot on your finger.
Yeah.
Like that's when you're really going hard.
It was at the very end when you did the like rapper sign offs, and you went Queen shit.
Did I say that?
Queen
That was when
shit.
I was really on my Bronson flow back
Yeah.
then. I was,
Queen shit.
and he would say that. I'm like, I'm gonna say that.
Is this-
Hey, I'm from Queens.
Is this Queen shit? A 21-year-old white child in the back of a toy shop freestyle rapping for One Take Wednesdays.
Yep, that is Queen shit.
I like it.
To be fair, that is Queen shit.
I like it. I think you should do. There's bound to be like, I know there's some back in Edinburgh during the Fringe, but like you should do the comedy rap battles.
There's comedy rap battles.
Oh yeah.
That's hilarious.
I was this close to being in one, but it got cancelled. But I was fully like I had bars written. on it.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you share?
It's basically roast battle. I honestly can't even mind. I know the
I don't
fella that I
believe
was
him.
supposed to do it. I swear to God. And it was supposed to be at, I think it was the Monkey Barrel at the Fringe. And I was like all pumped up for it. I was like, man, because listen, we're burdened by the same curse here. I also, at one stage in my life, wanted to be a rapper. Comedy is, in fact, my third dream.
Ooh.
It was pro wrestler, rapper, and now this. I'm stuck with this. Do you know what I mean?
It got progressively less embarrassing.
Yeah,
That's good.
100%.
Pro wrestler. That was your real dream?
Lad, I used to watch Rob Van Dam, and I was like, if only I could have that life.
Did you do anything to pursue it?
No, I did a couple of frog splashes in the local leisure centre.
That's a wild sentence.
Yeah, dude. What?
I
You
did-
said that like we're supposed to know what that
Oh
means.
yeah. I did a couple frog splashes
At the leisure centre.
at the
Local leisure centre.
local
Leisure centre.
leisure center.
Leisure centre.
Leisure center.
Leisure.
Ledger.
Leisure.
Leisure.
Yeah.
Leisure center. I did a couple frog splashes at the local leisure center. That's a Bronson
I was about
line.
to say that's Alexander Bronson. Doing
Aaron,
5-star frog splashes at the leisure centre.
Aaron's American voice is like Chappelle's white voice.
Yeah.
That's how he learned it.
Yeah, basically.
Local frog splashes. I'm at the Pennies wildin' now. At the Central getting sausage rolls. Damn. So, Aaron, my interns have told me that you're going through a breakup. Aaron,
Them interns do good research.
Aaron, I heard you're extremely heartbroken right now.
Yes, I am.
What's it like? What's the first thing you do after you get your heart broken?
Just eat yourself into oblivion.
Mm,
That's my strategy.
yeah.
I listen to Blonde and I eat.
What's your meal of choice? I don't want to hear anyone's last meal before they die. What's your first meal post breakup?
Okay, so it was like the first day after it, and obviously it's very raw, whatever. And I woke up and I was like, fuck this, I'm just gonna go back to bed. So I went back to bed, had a wee bit of a lie-in, and then I was like, no, I gotta get up and face the day. And my version of facing the day was watching the Jerry Springer documentary on Netflix. right?
Legend.
It was amazing, right? So I'm watching that. I'm like one episode in, and I'm like, for episode 2, maybe I should like order some wee snacks for myself, right? So I go on Uber Eats. I don't really like going on Uber Eats because everything lands cold anyway.
Mm.
But I was like, fuck it, you know, I'll do this. You know what I mean? And I go on Uber Eats. I go to Taco Bell, and I order. This is kind of embarrassing. I ordered $60 worth.
Okay.
Of the bell.
All right, we're gonna cut that out. That's too bad. That's,
I was in a bad place.
I know, but we're gonna bleep that out because that's $60 at Taco Bell. We don't. I respect you too much to let people know that.
Okay.
So-
Well, you know, I'm being vulnerable, and so I put out. I ordered the thing anyway, and you know, the guy's coming with the order, and he lands the door. I'm wearing a grey hoodie, right? I have a pair of grey sweatpants on. I haven't showered in like 2 days. My hair is very greasy.
Mm.
I go down the stairs and I walk out the door, and I'm very shameful. I'm like, oh, I don't even want to go out in the daylight right now, whatever. And I walk out, and the Uber Eats driver comes up to me, and he has this massive bag, like too big, with one Baja Blast in it. So it's like all this food, Baja Blast for one, right? So he's done the math in his head here, sees me come down, right? Gives me the $60 bag of bail, and as he does it, he goes, "Hey man, you have a good day today, all right?" And I was like, don't say that for the love of fuck. Right? I was like, what are you doing? And then I was like, he might as well have said, like, put his hand around the back of my shoulder and went, "You're enough, man. You're enough.
Hey, she doesn't deserve you, brother.
Hey, head up, champ." You know what I mean?
There's plenty of fish in the sea.
Once you get through this mountain of nacho cheese sauce, I think the best thing is to get back out there, champ.
Oh, man. It sucks too, because then you don't want to be a dick, but your instinct is be like, "Don't look me in the eyes. You're just a merely Uber Eats driver."
Yeah, I'm like, get these robots over to New York so I don't have to fucking deal with this.
You're like, you're giving me advice? You walked the Uber Eats here.
No, he hopped back into his
Mercedes.
no, he hopped into a Toyota that looked like it had 3 wheels, but it
Oh,
didn't.
man. He might as well have had your ex-girlfriend in the front seat.
100%.
Oh, man. That is twisting the knife.
Yeah, and then I just lay horizontal eating fucking Crunchwrap Supreme and just watching Jerry Springer.
Mm. Damn.
Yeah.
But then the people on Jerry Springer, that probably makes you feel better. You're like, at least I'm not like them.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda. Although there was a lot of like, because a lot of Jerry Springer, it is mad to watch. Like they show all these tapes and all from old episodes. And a lot of the show is just like, hey, I've been cheating. And I want my partner to be there for when I do this on national television.
Yeah.
Can we hook this up? And the producer's like, yeah, not a problem. We got free space 4 o'clock on a Tuesday, whatever. and they come in, and the partner, the Springer show, I used to think was fake, right? But apparently a lot of it, there was some pieces they did that were acting, whatever, but a lot of it, especially at the very beginning, was real people, real life events, right? And what the producers would do is they would have a producer assigned to each guest, right? And the producer's job was to go up to them and get them as riled up as they possibly could, to the point where they're a tornado and they just go on stage and they immediately want to start swinging.
I mean, it's so messed up, but that's got to be a fun job.
Oh my God. It would, if I could be it, my ideal way, right, to get over what I'm going through right now would be to be an intern on the Jerry Springer show, be a producer. 2 weeks of just like, say there's a guy and his girlfriend is about to expose the fact that she's been cheating on him, right? And you've been assigned to the guy that's been cheated on.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're in the back of him, you're like, man, what a fucking loser you are. Isn't this pathetic?
She's about to embarrass you on national television.
She's about to pull your pants down and show your wee tiny dick in front of the whole of America. Couldn't be me.
Could never.
Couldn't be me.
I could never do what you're doing right now.
But hey, man, go out there, put a fake smile on your face, and just you'll just get over it eventually, I suppose.
You know who would be great at this job? Your Uber Eats driver.
Oh, 100%.
That's basically what he did to you.
100%. Yeah,
Maybe that'll fix
he's Springer to me.
the health problems in America, is if we have Uber Eats drivers be the former producers on Jerry Springer.
I think Uber Eats should have a feature whereby if your order reaches a certain price point with one drink, and they're able to do the math, be like, hang on, this is for one person, the Uber Eats driver should, obviously if you tip, they should come into your house and be like, what's going on here, man?
Yeah. You send a therapist over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be great.
That would be a good show too.
Or like they shame you a bit and they're like, I'm going to have to watch you eat this.
Yeah. I've always felt so much shame, especially when I Uber Eats fast food. When I'm Uber Eating McDonald's, I'm like, I feel such shame. I'm like, I should not be allowed to do this.
Yeah.
If I'm going to eat McDonald's, I should at least have to walk in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I should get that exercise of walking in. I shouldn't be like, bring me the McDonald's as I eat it in bed.
Lad, I had a Sonic burger the other day for the first time. This country never fails to impress me.
He's never leaving, ladies and gentlemen.
It was unbelievable.
American for life.
And I never hear people talk about Sonic.
Sonic is new to the city.
Unbelievable.
Sonic was always one of those. I remember being upstate. Do they have in Connecticut?
No, not really.
It's very new to the city. There's one in Sunnyside now, and I'm like, whoa. When I was a kid, there was so much allure to Sonic.
And they have these mad drinks too.
Yeah, that was what really
They
got
have
me
like a
going.
cookie Dr. Pepper.
Mm.
What is it, Willy Wonka's factory?
A cookie
mental.
Dr. Pepper.
Mantle.
That is wild. Yeah, what a country.
What a country.
This is the season finale of it. Good night, everybody. Aaron McCann, if you don't mind, shout out your socials.
At McCann Comedy on
No,
Instagram.
your social security number.
247. At McCann Comedy Instagram. Listen to the Bomb Squad podcast. Available on all audio streaming
And
platforms.
tune into the next episode. I will reveal if Aaron stayed strong on his no drinking in Boston with Grace O'Malley. We'll see. I don't know. I believe in you.
I think
Chris,
I'll do it.
what's your take? Do you think he's going to stay strong?
I think he stays strong, you fold.
That's exactly what I think.
I kind of agree with both of you.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, that's been this episode.
Queen shit.
Queen shit. That's the name of the episode. Do you think any of that was usable?
Go,